Hello everybody, the Lawn Gnome is here.
Defies medical science.
So for September's episode of One That Got Away in 2017, I've got a little double feature for you. And they have a similar theme. It's a movie that talks about very powerful female characters in their leading roles. And those two movies that we're going to talk about are movies that I saw trailers for last year. I was sort of excited to see those movies because they looked like they would be very good films, and unfortunately I just wasn't able to get around to seeing them. And we're going to be talking about Florence Foster Jenkins, starring Meryl Streep. I may not be the biggest fan of hers, but I know that she is one of the greatest out there, and she's always praised for it. And we're going to be talking about Jackie, starring Natalie Portman. So the first movie that we're going to talk about, of course, is Florence Foster Jenkins. This is the story of Florence Foster Jenkins, of course, a powerful heiress in New York City in the 1940s. This movie takes place right around the time before she unfortunately passed on. And she is a well-known person, a very respected person in New York City at the time, and if there's one thing that she was very powerful at doing was taking her money and giving it to the arts. One of her passions was music, especially opera. And one of the few things that she really wanted to do in her life was to actually sing for an audience. But there's one little problem with Florence Foster Jenkins. She cannot sing for the life of her. She is absolutely tone deaf, but she is determined to fulfill her dream regardless of what people think and regardless of what people say. So when I heard about this movie, I always knew that Florence Foster Jenkins was someone out there. I never really knew much about her. I saw the movie finally and I thought that it was good. It wasn't a great movie, but it definitely had its moments. I thought that the acting was definitely what drove this film. Meryl Streep as Florence Foster Jenkins was very funny. It's a very lighthearted movie, so there's a lot of laughs to be had here. Her husband, played by Hugh Grant, was also a very good performance, but I think probably the best part of this film was Simon Helberg from The Big Bang Theory. He plays Florence Foster Jenkins' piano player while she's singing, and it's just so funny how you can tell that he really wonders why she's doing this, but at the same time he notices all of the people around her who love her and respect her and want her to just fulfill her dream just for the sake of fulfilling her dream. It's amazing how he cringes as he's still on board to try and make sure that he does this. And she does in fact record a song that she sings. She also does perform in front of a group of people, and especially at the end when you take a look at a little bit of her legacy before she passed away, it is kind of interesting to find out exactly what kind of an impact her singing actually had in the history of America as well as the history of music. But as I said, it's not the greatest movie. It's definitely got some high points, but the movie itself is just a good watch. It's not necessarily a movie that I would see dozens of times. I would probably see it maybe once or twice in the coming years if I wanted to, and it's not a movie that I'd want to own on DVD, but I would definitely say if you want to see a very interesting part of entertainment history and music history, give Florence Foster Jenkins a shot. I'll give that movie a 2.5 stars out of 4. The next movie, of course, I want to talk about is Jackie, which, of course, was up for a bunch of awards, as was Florence Foster Jenkins. That one actually got Meryl Streep another Oscar nomination. But Jackie got a couple of additional awards nominations, including a Best Actress award nomination for Natalie Portman. Now, Jackie is the story, of course, of the late John F. Kennedy's late wife, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. And when John F. Kennedy was president, she was just as much of an astounding figure in American pop culture. Everybody appreciated her fashion sense, the fact that she was with one of the most powerful men in the world, and the fact that she was just this beautiful woman who just had it all. And then one day, we all know what happened to her husband, and the whole movie is all about her being interviewed by a news reporter who's played by Billy Crudup, and it's a whole bunch of flashbacks of her having some great moments in the White House with her husband and interviewing with the press to the point in time where she actually is in the limousine driving down through Texas as her husband is being rushed to the hospital. And then it's all about how she coped, how she told her children what happened, how the funeral procession was going to be, what is her husband going to be remembered for, more so than herself. And it really is, in the end, what she really was remembered as throughout all of these dark moments in American history. The movie itself is not great. I mean, it's not terrible. It's a very engaging film, and it's definitely got some very emotional moments, especially when you see the recreation of the JFK assassination. It's very, very well done. You also have a great cast alongside Natalie Portman, like Peter Skarsgård as Bobby Kennedy. You also have John Hurt, who plays her pastor. It's also got a very unique score from Mika Levy. It's kind of haunting, as a sense. Like, sometimes I'm trying to even wonder how it even fits with this movie, because it's very uncomforting. Maybe it was done for the sake of an atmosphere to make people feel as if they're uncomfortable, because let's face it, Jackie Kennedy just lost her husband in an assassination. And it's very interesting, very unorthodox, and it definitely is something that will linger while you're watching this film. But the highlight of this movie, without a doubt, is Natalie Portman. She turned into Jackie Kennedy. The look, the hairstyle, the way that she spoke, she was deserving of an Oscar nomination for her portrayal of Jackie Kennedy. She was absolutely brilliant. Every eye contact, every piece of dialogue, every emotion, every physical move that she made embodied this very powerful lady in American history. And to take on a task of being that accurate to this person and trying to really feel as if you just lost everything that's important in your life, she just did a phenomenal job, and that was definitely one of the best reasons for me to see a movie like Jackie. Is it a movie that I would want to see again? I'd have to say the answer is no, because as amazing as Natalie Portman is in this film, it's a very okay film. Like, it's not terrible, but it's really something that drags, even though it's a pretty short film. It's not necessarily something that everybody's going to like, but people who are fascinated with John F. Kennedy's story and fascinated with the Kennedys in general are probably going to enjoy this movie no matter what. And of course, it's not a movie that I want to own on DVD either. I'm very glad that I saw both of these films, because a lot of people talked about them, and in the end, like Florence Foster Jenkins, I am also going to give Jackie a 2.5 stars out of 4. But thank you very much for watching, everybody. Please put your comments in the box below, and let's discuss either of these movies, both or none, and I will see you in the next one. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. If you're new here and want to see more of what my channel has to offer, please click on the link to my last video, or hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my uploads. Content of all sorts is posted here quite often, so trust me, you do not want to fall behind. I will see you in the comments, and actions speak louder than words.